their way to a 5th title in 6 seasons, Manchester City. What does bring a stop to anything like what we've seen from this Pep Guardiola team?
The only thing that can stop this machine for me is the lack of motivation. Doing it over and over. And I understand. If you win, you want to continue winning. It's not all that hard. And I think Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson, for many years have shown that. Liverpool, in my younger years, was doing it as well. But I don't think it's that easy. So I don't know. Again, obviously a refresh you've mentioned, because it's absolutely incredible. The David Silva, if Gundogan leaves, or Cancelo, one or two players aren't going to change the way Manchester City are playing. But it's Pep Guardiola going back to a lot of these players and asking them for this top level, game in and game out. And we've seen a little bit of that happening with Liverpool, right? That cycle where just that motivation. They fought Manchester City so close. They won it finally. That one season, 98, 97 points, and then things fell apart. These players didn't become bad overnight. And I know Liverpool has had a lot of injuries, but I just feel that they gave absolutely everything they had. They accomplished their goal in winning the Premier League, obviously Champions League for Liverpool as well in the last 5-6 years. But that's the only thing I can think of that Manchester City that could undo the what they have right now. Nothing.
Yeah, I wonder. Obviously, there's so much talk about the treble that's there for the taking if they want it, if they can do it this year. Manchester City, if they are to secure that, do you think that would be, let's say, the cherry on the top for Pep Guardiola, and that would be something that he's like, okay, I've achieved what I needed to achieve. Now, maybe even the players think of it that way, and that could affect motivation because they've already done it now.
It could. Winning breeds more winning. Players are like that, right? It is the biggest league in the world. All eyes around the world are on the Premier League. So I suppose if you're a player for Manchester City or top clubs, I think you can, Pep Guardiola can find ways of motivating. But you're quite right. Imagine if they were to win the Champions League, obviously they'd have to go through Real Madrid. That in itself is incredible. Then it's either Inter or Milan. Two clubs that have won Champions League on numerous occasions. And then say you beat your city rivals, Manchester United, in the final of the FA Cup. My goodness, it's not easy, right? It's not easy to say, okay, let's do this again. But, as you've said, they've done it 5 out of the last 6 years. They are winners. We've talked about what some of the other teams maybe are missing. And it's just, it's hard unless you're there. I've played this game, obviously nowhere near to what these players are doing. But when you're surrounded by so many great players that just don't allow you to bring the level down, it must be something, right? Think about their training. These players can do everything. So every little thing is being made fun of. If you can make a simple pass, I don't even want to talk about simple passes, but these players motivate each other. Pep is one thing, but I think there's that you always want to get better. I can only imagine that you go out there and you see De Bruyne and you see Haaland so young, and you see Grealish, and you see how much he's grown during this season. And I think they push each other and force each other to be better. And I think we're lucky enough to watch that over the weekend.
I think what you just said shows respect to both of the sides there, Janusz. I think we're hearing a lot of ex-pros and even those who've won the Premier League saying it's a lot harder than it might seem just to people watching. It is such a hard thing to do, to win a league title, which shows you how hard that's been for Arsenal, but also shows you the respect that you have to have for a team like Manchester City, that they continue to be able to keep pushing into the end of the season and to finish it with the top honours. I suppose that's a great point, making out that it's obviously very, very hard to do so, which is why many managers say winning the league is a lot tougher than winning some of the big cup competitions, right?
And then, I've done it before and I'll do it again. And you have to have a manager like Pep Guardiola. We all have our likes, and, I remember people complain. Maybe I even actually complain about, the tiki-taka too much. But he's learned too, right? Manchester City plays a little bit different than his Barcelona played, maybe even Bayern Munich as well. But in order to make all of that tick, you have to be special, right? And we've talked about Jose Mourinho in the special one. I don't know. I think what he does at Manchester City, to me, it's incredible, because I can only imagine how difficult it must be, not just to pick a team, to make sure that everybody's on side, make sure that everybody's motivated and hungry to do it over and over and over again in such a way where just about every player has got to be coming to you, knocking on the door and saying, why am I not playing? I look at Ziyech. Oh, sorry, Mahrez. I've done this before, by the way. I look at Riyad Mahrez, and I say to myself, how is this guy not in the starting lineup after the hat trick against Sheffield United? But it just, team comes first. We saw what Bernardo Silva did to Bayern Munich. He didn't do that, by the way, in the game against Real Madrid. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be changes midweek when City faces Real Madrid at home as well. But it's got to be an impossible task, and to sort of sell your brand of football in such way. That part may be easy because everybody wants to play, in a good way. But this team is a little bit different. I think we can all agree.
Before we move on from City, let's talk about how special Ilkay Gundogan is and what should happen next with this player.
Oh, what should happen? What's going to happen, right? I mean, Pep Guardiola has been very, very honest. He's communicated to his people that he wants to keep him. Of course, why would you want to lose a player like that? David Silva needed to leave too. He wanted to go back to Spain, or whatever motivated him as well. Maybe it's a level where you just feel that it's you need that extra motivation. You want to see something different. Although I don't know how winning everything it gets you don't get tired of that, I suppose. But I think if Gundogan wants to stay, there's of course a place for him. He's an excellent player. He showed that in the last couple of games. What does he get? 4 goals in a couple. I mean, he's been absolutely tremendous in the Premier League, and that's not an easy midfield to find yourself in, of course. And he saw a little bit of bench because everybody sees that when you play for Manchester City. But for me, I would have stayed. But again, we're hearing Barcelona. There's something special. It doesn't matter if Barcelona are great or not. That one day you can sit down when it's all said and done and you say to yourself, I play for Barcelona. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's as simple as that.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.